Hi everybody, welcome to this edition of Appalachian Trail Talk. This is leg number 26. For me it went from, let's see, Palmerton to Delaware Water Gap, and that's about 40-ish miles. And but I did a slack pack SOBO here from Smith Gap. But let me just talk about what the trail was like. Now, this if you want to watch this particular slack pack, I broke it up into 2 days. So there's a part 1 and a part 2 of day 41, and I did that because they were a little bit long because I spent some time telling some Air Force stories. I know there was one in there about my survival school experience and whatnot. But on this day, I did get a lift up to Smith Gap here and headed south, and I carried 4 liters of water with me that day. I've used my own pack, and I'm kind of starting to do that now with slack packing. Just use my own pack, have everything out of it except what I need. That way I've got my hip belt. That seems to work better than to have these little school backpacks that don't really work that well and leave chafing under my arms. So anyway, so this is a very steep climb up the rocks from Lehigh Gap, and the photograph here at the beginning is me looking from about here, not quite at the top, back down. There's a nice painted flag on the backside of one of the rocks up here that you often see in people's videos. Coming here through the summer, you definitely want to be looking out for rattlesnakes, although I think with as much traffic as this has, people climbing up here, it's a very popular day hike for people to make to get up here. I think that they probably don't choose to hang around there too much, but I might be mistaken. But I would definitely kind of be careful. Once you get up to the top, this actual section of the trail right here is really nice. Okay, hardly any rocks at all. You can move pretty quickly here. I met a gal who was northbound last year who started in January in Cape, down in Key West, and hiked the Florida Trail first. And I think she went in and got right up to Pinhoti, and then Pinhoti into the AT. And she was already up here in May, so she was flying. She was a little tiny gal with a very small backpack on, probably the smallest Z-pack you could buy, and she was just flying up the trail. Once you get over in here, you get into a bunch of rocks again, and especially if you have to descend down here and back up again. This area was a lot of climbing over big boulder piles, some of which you saw. I didn't take any pictures of them for some reason. I have them on video, but no actual snapshots of that. And then it's kind of rough through this area here. A lot of rocks. And then when you get closer to Smith's Gap, so when you're about 2 miles from it, it actually like the rocks just disappear and you can just fly. But as soon as you cross the Smith Gap, it seems like the rocks start almost immediately. I was hoping for some smooth flying trail through here, but that was not what I ended up getting. So I ended up getting I think rocks right away, if I remember right. Or there may have been periods of rocks and then smooth and then rocks and then smooth. But anyway, now here at Smith's Gap, okay, this is where I got on and the next day to go northbound. Then on the 14th, you'll see. So I wanted to show you. Let's see here. I think it's only fair that you know that here at Smith Gap there is an option. Okay, you can go down the road here to this Stempa home. They do offer some things here that I think you do need to know about. Okay, and so you got Mechanical Man and Canyon Lady. There is a spring down there. You're welcome to get water from the spigot near the house. If you're really in desperate situations, you can walk down there. So looks like it's about 0.7 south, maybe, or maybe it's a mile south down to the spigot. You could go down there and get water. They're pet friendly. They do have some for free shuttles ranging from Lickdale up to Delaware Water Gap. If you want to camp there, you have to ask permission first, but that's about $10, and you do get a shower and a towel for that, and a ride included to Kunkletown, which there is a general store and a pub down there. Excuse me for a second. So those are some options for you. I need to get a drink, sorry. Okay, so from Wind Gap, I did not go down here to see that shelter area at all. I had, they started off with the water that I needed, so I just kept hiking. I do remember this descent down to Wind Gap. You're going to be crossing under the interstate there, I think, as well as Pennsylvania 33. Had some people go down into town. What I'd heard before I left Palmerton was that 2 of the hotels there were closed, and so the AT makes that descent down, kind of crosses the interstate, follows on the road, and then turns and goes up. Now there's a hotel here that I see, and there's a Red Carpet Inn down here, and they said that, I don't know which one, but this is 2017, things changed, that one of them was closed, and the other one we're charging hikers $75 to come and get them from the trail. So so there was some disgruntledness there, but you can see that if you needed to come down into here and you wanted to get something to eat, do some laundry, you could probably do that. If you need to get something to fix an item, there's a little family practice down here. So, and hey, there's a Dunkin' Donuts. What can go wrong, right? So anyway, that's Wind Gap. So there is some options there if you need to. I didn't take advantage of that, just how I chose to do my hike during this particular time. So and once out of Wind Gap, once again a lot of rocks, and I finally got to the point where I knew rain was coming in the next day. I really wanted to get down to the shelter, but I was kind of running out of daylight. A lot of rock, no places to camp, but I came across this little place, which is literally a little campsite, and they had enough clear spots where you could put a tent down, and so I went ahead and set my tent up that night. This is one of the, probably only not even a handful of times where I camped alone in a stealth camping site. Rain came in that night, rained pretty hard. This is where some critter got up underneath my vestibule and chewed up all of my boot laces. So another reason to carry a spare of shoelaces or boot laces with you, because it probably used it for nesting material, I'm sure. Now, when I did get down across the road here, got into the shelter, it had been raining pretty good all that day. Matter of fact, my pack cover was starting to fill up with water underneath it, because there's not a drain hole in the one that the ULA sells. And found out that because this is so close to the road, a lot of weekenders from town were out there, and the shelter had been packed that night, and excuse me, and probably it was a good decision on my part to go ahead and stop early. I don't really remember if there's much camping in the area. There was a good water source there, but I don't remember many spots to put a tent up. I think you had to go beyond that up here to this campsite, where there was a view, and it's just kind of an open area where maybe an old gas line or power line had come through the trees, and so that's where the camping kind of was up in there, and there were still actually some tents that were set up there when I came through late morning. Excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. I caught a cold from one of my granddaughters. They the 3 oldest in my son's family had me come over and play Halo with them the other day, and yes, Grandpa does play Halo. And enjoy it, actually. As a matter of fact, at one time in my life I was kind of addicted to it, and I had to really back away from it. So anyway, one of them passed on their cold to me. It started raining. Well, actually, when I woke up it was raining, and it pretty much rained, even for the stop here. It was nice to be kind of to park in and get out of the rain a little bit, but it was raining pretty hard through here. So the time I started the descent down, we probably already had 2 or 3 inches of rain, and the trail was just a waterfall. I'm just hiking down this waterfall. This is one of the times I was glad I had some my Loa GTX boots on, to be honest with you. And all the way down here into Delaware Water Gap. Now, when you come out on the road here, you come down, and then you hit this mountain road and come down. Here is an inn right here. Here's the Church of the Mountain Hostel right here. Okay, and I chose to, because I didn't want to do a hostel, and this was kind of expensive if I remember right. I went ahead here the Pocono Inn that turned out to be kind of under renovation. It was kind of run down and dilapidated. This Water Gap Adventures, I noticed in my 2018 book, they're not even there on here anymore, and it had closed down. Okay. And there was no fuel to be had there. There is a little Edge of the Woods outfitter here that carried Solomon's. I got a pair of Gators, Dirty Girl Gators there. A couple of guys are replacing the tips on their hiking poles there. You know, kind of small but adequate. And so this is a little bit of a walk. If you make the turn here, you go just, I think, past this diner, maybe this village. There is a great place to get a pie and some good food in here. Okay, because when you come down here and hit the town, you are leaving again. You're literally just coming into the edge of Delaware Water Gap, and this is not a big town. By the time I walked up here to the Pocono Inn, I mean, I was so wet. I actually had about 2 liters of water in the bottom of my pack cover. Didn't realize it. Of course, when I set my pack down on the ground, all that water then just soaked right up into my pack. But I did a resupply here at the gas station, and it cost me $100 for one of those, just one of those little store bags, you know, those little grocery, what they call those T-shirt bags. For food, just protein bars and Snickers bars and oh, come on, stuff like Pop-Tarts and stuff like that. $100 I spent for food here, so be aware that. And there wasn't really up here this little village farmer. That was more like fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. There wasn't much in there you could buy for a hiking resupply. So anyway, that was Delaware Water Gap. That was a little different than I expected, that experience there. Had I had a chance to do it over again? Oh, I don't know. Post office is right here. Maybe do a resupply drop box here, if you can time it right, or see if the church hostel will take a delivery for you. Okay, but the resupply was challenging, and it was very frustrating. I looked at trying to get to Stroudsburg, and it was one of those, you could get a taxi there, but what the guy at the hotel told me is they're really great about coming to get you and taking you there, but it's hard to get one to come and bring you back. So I didn't do it. All right. So that's it for today. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.